So, who can tell me what 5 times 1 is? 5. All right. Very good. Okay, can someone tell me what is 17 times 1?
17.
Okay. You guys are doing pretty good so far. 43 times 1?
43.
Okay. What about 427 times 1?
427.
Okay. Okay, so far so good. What about 5,427,693 times 1?
That number.
Oh, it's that number. All right. That's exactly what the kids do. So any number multiplied by 1 is
Itself.
that number,
Yeah.
right? So we're going to use that as we're working with fractions, because we've been working with finding equivalent fractions where we're like, okay, we're going to make 1/2. Can I use thirds to make 1/2? And we try out all these different ways of making fractions. That's kind of cumbersome, and it's hard to tell exactly, like, is that the same size, especially when you're working with the smaller fraction pieces. So we need to find an easier way to do that so that we can do it more efficiently. And then here's the classic, where's the marker move that I spend half of my day doing. All right, so any number times 1 is that number, right? And that is a rule that we call multiplicative identity. So let's write that down. Multiplicative. I'll let you see it because I know you have questions about spelling. Identity. And that means that any number times 1 is that same number, right? So everyone please write down that definition so that you have it. And we're going to talk about some different ways to make one whole. And we did this when we were doing this chart. Remember, we made this chart and we said, oh, 1 whole is the same as how many halves?
2.
2. So 1 whole is the same as 2 halves. And that's the same as 3/3. And that's the same as 4/4. And we could go on and on and on. So sometimes what I like to do is I would write down like 2 halves. And I know that that's the same as 1, so I'm going to put it in this giant 1 costume to remind myself that 2 halves is the same as 1. And I can multiply a number by that fraction, and it'll still be the same because I'm multiplying it by 1. So if we get on to this next card, they show some examples, and they say, okay, 3/7 times, and then they would put 2 halves in the 1 costume, and it's the same as 6/14. And we aren't really talking about how when you multiply, you're going across, because we're not there yet, but they just kind of were like, oh, okay, we do that, and then they forget about it when it's time to multiply fractions, and then we introduce that in other ways as well. So, so on a lot of these, it'll have them make like 5 different equivalent fractions that are equivalent to 1/6, and then they'll just kind of do this over and over and over again. And with pencil, I'll just erase the fraction in here. I'll put a new one, and then I'll say equals 9/27 equals, and we'll just kind of erase that and replace it over and over again. So that's how we do these equivalent fractions. And when we get to adding unlike denominators, then we will look at finding a common denominator, and we'll talk about all of that. But for right now, it's just showing how these fractions are equivalent.